Hi lovelies, it's Claire here, and today's video is taking a bit of a departure from our normal cloth menstrual pad videos. It's still along that sort of, can't get my words out. It's still along those sort of lines, as it's something I have seen so much of lately. Because of my love of cloth menstrual products, I'm in many cloth pad groups and communities on Facebook. Now, when you get that many women with vaginas all together, you're going to get questions about thrush, bacterial vaginosis, PMS, all sorts of things. And more every week is coming up about thrush. And people looking into natural remedies and home remedies to avoid going to the doctors, or because they only want to use something natural, or because they have got reoccurring thrush and they can't get rid of it, so they want to supplement and add in something natural that may help or give some relief. And there is some really funky and really, yes Ellen, funky and dangerous information being given to other women. Google is not your doctor. Hello Ellen. Google is not your doctor, it's not your herbalist, it's not your aromatherapist. And the fact of it is, anyone can put anything on the internet. So their opinion can be whatever they want. It doesn't have to come from a place of fact. So I am a qualified alternative therapist. So some of this information will be coming from that side of my work. The rest is from research, talking to my gynecologist, and hopefully we'll be able to set a few things straight out there and correct some misinformation. Ellen, leave that please. So I'm going to start by saying this is not a diagnostic video. This is not a medical video. I am not your doctor. If you are showing signs of thrush or bacterial vaginosis for the first time, you need to go to the doctors and get that diagnosed properly with a swab and have some treatment. If you're just looking into alternative treatments to supplement what you're already using, then you're in the right place. If you're only looking at using natural options, I urge you, please go to the doctors. Try the safest ones first if you want to go natural, but don't rule out your doctor. It's very important because other things could be going on. Sometimes one thing is a symptom of something else. So we'll look at quickly what is thrush and bacterial vaginosis, which is what the first part of the video will talk about. Now, thrush is basically a fungus that usually starts to overgrow in the gut, but you may have mild symptoms that you wouldn't even notice, a bit of upset stomach or whatever, but you will notice when suddenly you get vaginal thrush. That usually involves itching, swelling, redness, and increase in discharge. This will not be smelly discharge. It's generally could be white and cloudy, and at most it might smell a bit yeasty, hence yeast infection. Bacterial vaginosis is a bacterial infection of the vagina, which can have all the same symptoms of thrush, but is usually differentiated, for you at least at home, by a very smelly, odorous discharge from the vagina. It may be discoloured. It's very important to get treatment for that if you have it. So a lot of these home remedies are applied to both when people are recommending them. So we will start off with what I feel is the most dangerous out there, and that is in regard to essential oils. So essential oils are basically volatile compounds from plants. They use a distilling method to take the oil out of the plant, and it is highly concentrated. If you think of when you go out into the garden and you pick a bit of lavender, you squish it a bit and release some of that oil, and you'll smell the lavender. Sometimes you can just brush past and you'll smell it. This is so much more concentrated than that, which is why they are volatile oils. Pretty much all oils, with the exception of a few, the most common you probably have heard of lavender and tea tree, Pretty much all the rest must be diluted in a carrier oil before being applied to the skin. So this could be coconut oil, grapeseed oil, sweet almond oil, and then they're often used in massage and treatments for various ailments or to release stress. People are recommending, and oh my god, this horrifies me, I don't even want to say it out loud, to do 5 to 10 drops of neat tea tree oil on a tampon. Ellen, can you play in a minute, please? On a tampon and insert that into the vagina overnight. This is extremely dangerous. You have to be careful with oils on the skin, diluted or undiluted, as there are many allergies people can have. Medical conditions can affect it. Some people have frail skin. Your vagina is very thin skin. Part of it is a mucous membrane. Essential oils should not be applied to mucous membranes directly, especially not neat. There are quite a few confirmed cases of severe burns and scar tissue that has been caused to women's vaginas from this home treatment. So just because up till now you have been lucky and not had such severe effects doesn't mean that effects aren't taking place within your vagina you can't see. The times I've seen people say, it will burn a bit, don't worry, that's a good thing. That is not a good thing. I honestly don't know what women are thinking. What, there should be some pain for it to heal up your thrush? There should not be any burning in that area. You should not be inserting neat tea tree oil into your vagina. It is a huge no-no. Ellen, one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, so do not insert undiluted oils into your vagina. And just to really point out how misguided this is, people get a bottle of this tea tree oil. This one in particular is organic tea tree oil, if it would focus, and like so. But this I use for aroma. This is not the correct tea tree oil that you would even try to use on something like that anyway. There are over 110 varieties of tea tree. Out of all of those 110, there is one variety that has been clinically trialed and proven to contain all of the active ingredients it needs, which is 150 of them, active ingredients in that oil to make it antifungal and antibacterial on a high enough level to affect change on the skin. So often that is the type that is used in skin washes and things like that. And that is Australian tea tree oil. I'm not going to go into the actual variety, etc. with you, because even then that should not be inserted into your vagina. If you do want to try tea tree oil, then a couple of drops in a bath and soak in it. But there is no scientific evidence that this will cure your thrush or BV. None whatsoever. It's anecdotal. And again, people tend to look at oils and think, right, what properties do they have? Oh, it's antifungal. Oh, there you are. Thrush is a fungus. It will kill it. That is not evidence. It just isn't. I just don't know where people are coming from sometimes. Google is a very dangerous place because anyone can post anything they want. And before you know it, like an old wives' tale becomes across the internet as an alternative treatment for thrush. It really isn't. Another thing to bear in mind with essential oils as a whole that I want to mention here, because this is going to deal with some other hormonal issues as well, is essential oils can be very good if you have endometriosis, if you have polycystic ovary syndrome. There are some very good essential oils that can be blended in carrier oil and used for massage of the abdomen area. However, there are other essential oils that actually mimic estrogen in the body and are not recommended and should not be used in those women. Then you come into pregnancy You cannot just use any old essential oil during pregnancy. And even breastfeeding, there are certain essential oils that you should not use during breastfeeding, because with these oils, everyone's thinking natural. It's this whole distinction between natural and chemical again. All essential oils have a chemical name, if you like, but they don't put it on the label. Tea tree oil, that's nice and easy for you. They are not safe, 100% safe, much safer than any medication, because they can use the word natural or they're from an obvious plant. They can be very, very dangerous. For instance, someone who suffers with miscarriages, there are certain essential oils they should not use in their massage, etc., if they're going to plan to have a pregnancy. Essential oils are absorbed by the skin into your bloodstream, the same as if you had taken a tablet. So that's something very important to remember, that natural does not mean harmless. So that's essential oils. Now let's move on to something that is far less dangerous: probiotics and yogurt. You will often see recommended ladies saying either cover a pad in yogurt and wear it, cover a tampon in yogurt and wear it, put yogurt on with some tissue, loads of ways of applying yogurt. And that would be natural bio yogurt. Sorry, this one's open because it's the only one I had to example. This, a nice organic natural bio yogurt, because it has in it natural probiotics. Now, it's very good for cooling the area to soothe pain and discomfort and swelling, because obviously thrush, etc., are very itchy and uncomfortable conditions. There is no proof whatsoever that yogurt will treat thrush. What you've got to remember is yogurts have very low levels, even the bio yogurts, of probiotics. They're not a high enough level to give any kind of treatment. So there's no proof that that will cure your thrush, but it is something good to think about using that will not harm you if you want to slather some down there to help with the itching and burning. Just remember to put on a panty liner or pad so you don't get it all over your knickers and stuff, because it is very messy. So that's topical yogurt. Then there is inserting probiotic capsules into the vagina, which is something like this. This is the Caniston version here. And you will see helps prevent the reoccurrence of vaginal infections. You can get many other brands. This is just one that I had to hand, as I used a pack like a year ago or something, but somehow the pack was still in the cabinet. There has been several studies now that have shown potential for these vaginal probiotic suppositories. It's still not clear if they can treat thrush, but there has been great success in using these suppositories after an infection of thrush to help keep it away and to rebalance the flora, etc., in the vagina. So that's something you may want to consider. They're very easy to purchase. They are safe to use. The next is an oral probiotic, which you can get in powder, capsules, etc. Again, there has been some studies on this, and some have proven potential that this can help to fight off thrush and to keep you from getting reoccurrent thrush. So there are some studies that are starting to back up the use of suppositories and oral probiotics, prebiotics, etc. So that might be something you want to look into to go along with another kind of medical treatment like the cream or something, or pessaries, just to rebalance and give you the best chance of not getting it back again once you've gotten rid of it. Oh dear, this one, garlic. I see time and time again women recommending a clove of garlic or crushing garlic and putting it in their vagina overnight to get rid of thrush, and it magically being gone in the morning. There is no studies on this whatsoever that prove that this works. There has been a study on taking garlic orally to combat thrush, both in the gut and vaginal thrush, and no impact was shown. It was shown to be non-effective. So there's nothing to back this up whatsoever. It actually originated as an old wives' tale and has gone a lot more viral, what with there being Google and YouTube videos and everyone being so more natural conscious these days. But there's no proof that would work. And something to bear in mind for those that do use garlic is if you have a mild thrush infection, or what's the word? I don't like to use thrush infection because it's not really infection, but anyway, we'll use it for now. If you do get mild yeast infection, then they can often go by themselves between 1 and 3 days. So you've inserted that garlic and the next day you feel better. It's worth remembering that actually it probably just healed itself and now you have a vagina that pongs of garlic. There has been some reported cases of infection due to inserting garlic into the vagina, and also allergic reaction, because due to some of the chemical compounds in garlic, it can also produce a burning sensation, which, although you may be fine eating some garlic in your risotto, it doesn't mean that somewhere as sensitive as your vagina is going to be able to cope with having mushed up garlic put into it. So that's something to bear in mind. Next on the list is coconut oil. So here we have some raw virgin coconut oil. Organic, non-GM, cold processed, good stuff. There's a lot out there about the benefits of coconut oil. It has been proven to contain many antifungal and bacterial properties. One scientific study which has been done in recent times has shown promise with the treatment of thrush/candida in mice in their intestines. Obviously it's not testing vaginal thrush. Promise has been shown there, but there is nothing to support currently the use of coconut oil to treat thrush. If you are planning to use coconut oil, it shouldn't harm you, but do a patch test, as some people are sensitive to it, even if they can have it on their skin. Again, we're talking vagina here, different type of skin, mucous membrane. A lot of women use it for lube during sexual intercourse. Now, I just wanted to quickly pop in here because there seems to be a lot of confusion about this. Coconut oil is not compatible with latex, and currently tests are underway on polyurethane condoms to see if it's compatible with that. But at the moment, they're saying it's not compatible with either in the scientific community because it can degrade it and cause breakages, etc. So something to bear in mind if you use condoms as your form of contraception and want to use coconut oil as your lube. They are not compatible, and the condom companies themselves do not recommend using it. So it can, cause problems. So if you're not up for an unwanted pregnancy, something to consider. Epsom salts and rock salt. Now, this is something that most people can get their hands on. As you might have it in the house. Epsom salts you can get at the supermarket, pharmacy, wherever. And although not a cure for thrush, doctors over here in the UK actually do advise saltwater baths if you have a thrush infection. Not to sit in it too long, just 10 to 15 minutes with some salt can soothe the area and help with the symptoms. So this isn't going to cure your thrush, but again, it's something that could provide you with some relief. Then there's diet. There is studies and scientific proof that cutting out sugar can help significantly with regular thrush infections and general candida in the body. So that's something that you may want to look into, and again supporting with probiotics. The next is herbs. This is not really to do with thrush or BV. This is just because lots of people seem to ask about herbs to help bring on menstruation, herbs to balance hormones, to help with PMS, and obviously there are evening primrose oil and starflower oil get mentioned a lot, but the most popular one at the moment seems to be Agnus cactus. Now, science has done studies on this, and there has been shown results in areas such as PMT and regulating periods. However, here we come to the whole it's natural, so I can just go and take whatever herbs I want. There are some things I want to point out if you are planning to use herbs, not just Agnus cactus, but other herbs as well. Herbs are not innocuous things that you can just take and get zero side effects from. Most drugs today on the market actually came from herbs. Willow bark is how they discovered aspirin. Obviously now they've chemically engineered it, so it's much cheaper to make, and it's chemically made in a factory. However, originally aspirin was willow bark, and you would chew it or take it ground up in a capsule. Herbs give side effects, and not only that, they react with other medications you are taking, and sometimes with each other. So if we look at Agnus cactus just for a moment here, people with hormone sensitive conditions such as endo, fibroids, female cancers, breast, uterine, etc. are not recommended to take Agnus cactus. I see it recommended all the time on forums and things, and even on some endo websites. But if you actually go and speak to a medical specialist in endo, they can show you the studies, because of the way Agnus cactus is made up. It can mimic estrogen in the body that can make a lot of these conditions much worse. If you have a lot of female cancers history in your family, Agnus cactus is not a good plant to take for you, because it mimics estrogen, makes more estrogen, and that can be a factor in many of these conditions. It also interacts with birth control pills. So if you are on the combined pill, the progesterone only pill, and you take Agnus cactus alongside it, it can reduce the effectiveness of your birth control pills. So that is something to bear in mind and to remember with many herbs that are out there. Herbs are still medication. Just because technically you could grow it in your garden, it does not mean it does not have interactions, contraindications. They can still cause a lot of problems. People, for example, with high blood pressure, heart problems, thyroid conditions, if you're on certain medications, you can't take many herbs that are on the market. Herbal sleeping pills, for example, someone on heart medication should not be taking them because there is interactions between the two. So I'm not saying herbs are not great, because they can be excellent for balancing hormones, for all sorts of medical problems if you want to go down a natural route. But don't use Google. Book yourself an appointment with a herbalist, who ideally a medical herbalist. You don't really want to just go to a herbalist. There is a distinction between them. A herbalist is someone who has studied herbs. They cannot diagnose problems. Their patients can come to them and say, I have this, and they can recommend some herbs that they could use often in teas, etc. like that. A medical herbalist has had further training to be able to diagnose, to be able to consult with your GP, to know what drugs will interact with what herbs, and they're a lot safer to go to if you want to go down the herbalism route. So that's just a bit generally on herbs, because they tend to cross over a bit into this section. I hope this has really maybe opened some people's eyes to some of the pitfalls of using Google. I often see when I reply to these posts and I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that, but Google says it's fine. Google's not a person. Google's had no training. Anyone can write an article on Google. My husband could come home tonight and post a blog about why everyone should, I don't know, eat a particular herb for a particular thing. And that blog will be online by tonight. People can read it, they can take his advice, and who knows what would happen. He has no training. There are lots of people out there that have this anecdotal advice, or they've tried something and it's coincided with an improvement. That does not make them doctors. It does not make these articles part of the scientific community. If you Google the benefits of coconut oil, really have a look at what the page is that you're on. Don't just go on the page and read the information. Many of them are actually brands of coconut products trying to sell you their coconut oil. And the list of things, I mean, you're talking over 100 things that coconut oil can supposedly cure or stop you getting. That is not scientific. That is just someone trying to sell a product, or someone's opinion on that product, or just because something has an antibacterial side to it, suddenly they apply it to a million things and it cures this, that and the other. That is not the information that you should be looking for or following, especially when dealing with something like your vagina. This is not, oh, I've pulled a muscle, what can I rub into it? This is a very delicate part of your body that has a very specific way and specific balance for how it works. So you don't want to just be sticking anything up there or applying anything you can find. There are natural things that you can do to help with treating these problems, but there aren't any natural cures for thrush or BV. You still need to use your medication unless it's a very mild flare-up, and maybe you could catch it early with a couple of these things here, some probiotics or whatever. So I hope you found this video interesting. That's it from me and my little rant about natural versus not natural and vaginas. And I will speak to you soon.